and Mike Garafolo. Guys, we've already seen one head coach released from his duties in Atlanta. Is there more news coming out of Cleveland today, Rap Sheet?
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns have now fired head coach Kevin Stefanski, the two-time coach of the year and one of the more respected coaches in the NFL. It has been a tough 2 seasons for the Cleveland Browns. Certainly plenty of quarterback questions and questions in general for a team in transition, a team that very famously traded for Deshaun Watson and spent the next several years trying to figure out if it was going to work. Obviously dealt with injuries. A lot going on with the Cleveland Browns. It all leads to the departure, Tom, of Coach Kevin Stefanski. Certainly, I would say Stefanski is going to emerge as one of the top candidates of this cycle. So then you would say, well, how did the Cleveland Browns fire him? It seemed to be that owner Jimmy Haslam and those involved in this process, and I would put general manager Andrew Berry in that group because he is now going to run the search for a new head coach, simply wanted a new voice. Love Stefanski, respect him, was just time for something new, so he is now out. And I would expect basically every team with an opening to take a hard look at him for their new head coach.
It's very rare that you've got a two-time NFL Coach of the Year who suddenly becomes available in his prime in terms of his career, albeit after a couple of really challenging seasons. When you're evaluating Kevin Stefanski and the Browns, you have to look in part at what he was dealing with at the quarterback position. First year out, they go to the playoffs with Baker Mayfield. Second year, Baker has a slew of injuries. That following offseason, the Browns make the blockbuster trade for Deshaun Watson, which, because of suspension and a series of injuries to Watson, never works out. Then over the past couple of years, it has been about trying to find the next starting quarterback, including looking at rookies Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders this season. To that extent, Kevin Stefanski, as you said, Ian, certainly would appear to be a top candidate now hitting the market. As for what this Browns job is going to be, Andrew Berry, the general manager, is going to stay in place. He is going to be a core part of that team moving forward. And Mike, when you look at the Browns rookie class, one of the best in the NFL, Carson Schlesinger, quite possibly the defensive rookie of the year. They've got playmakers on offense. Maybe they have a quarterback plus 2 first-round picks in next year's draft. There are a lot of resources to build with. The question is, who is that right next voice to be able to continue what does appear to be the early stages of a rebuild in Cleveland?
You mentioned the two-time Coach of the Year awards that Kevin Stefanski received. The Coach of the Year award's been more like a curse than a blessing for some of these coaches in recent years. Brian Daboll, a winner, Matt Nagy as well. Nagy now a head coaching candidate once again. But so when the Browns let go of Stefanski, you've got other teams that are saying, when you look at this landscape right now of head coaching candidates, there is no Ben Johnson. There aren't many hot offensive play callers. In fact, half the league is called by the head coach on offense. So that whittles it down. And then you've got some guys that are retreads and in some cases might get fired themselves as offensive coordinators. So that's what makes Stefanski attractive to some teams with, let's say, young quarterbacks. Let's say the New York Giants, because they've got themselves a quarterback in Jackson Dart that they want to be able to bring in someone who is experienced and potentially has that element on the offensive side of the ball, even if he doesn't call it. So I agree with Ian. I agree with you guys when you say Kevin Stefanski is going to be an attractive candidate as a head coach for other teams with vacancies. The question is, what does he want to do? Does he want to take a step back or does he want to jump back into it? It might be up to Stefanski in the end, really.
Well, Tom mentioned a very important word. It seems like he's coaching in his prime right now. He is brilliant offensively, and if the Browns are saying what they believe to be true, which is they needed a new voice in the room, we're going to track that hiring process. Insiders, thank you so much. We know you're going to be on NFL Network and NFL Plus for the rest of the day on Up to the Minute, tracking all of this stuff. Manti, another name to add to that list of teams is the Tennessee Titans. Moved on from their head coach midseason. That's another young quarterback to look at. So, Manti, whether you want to spin it to the Browns or Stefanski as a whole, your initial thoughts on this decision?
Well, I'm going to follow up what Tom P. said when in regards to the amount of quarterbacks that has come through that quarterback room for the Browns. We all know this, playing this game, is if you have no quarterback, you have no shot. And you know, to the defense of Coach Stefanski, he mentioned the Deshaun Watson trade and how that kind of panned out. I mean, they traded for Kenny Pickett. He didn't even play a snap, then they shipped him off. They're kind of, Jameis played a little bit, Joe Flacco came a little bit, so there hasn't been a solid quarterback player, you know, that Kevin Stefanski could depend on. And not to mention, when he won all of those head coaching Coach of the Year awards, he had Nick Chubb. Like, Nick Chubb isn't there anymore. That whole regime and the whole identity of the Cleveland Browns offense, it's been a circus. And so I know that he's a great head coach. He's a great coach in general. I know he's going to get picked up elsewhere. It just sucks to see something like this go down, Seth.
Yeah, you never want to see anybody lose their job. But let me flip side this for you, okay? This is great for Kevin Stefanski. Get him out of Cleveland, man. This place is a black hole. Nobody is winning games in Cleveland because the organization from the top down is run so poorly. And you see it reflected every year in the chaos. The quarterback position is just a microcosm of this, okay? The quarterback position that you just laid out, Manti, it's a microcosm. They just can't get it right. Even going into this year, drafting Shadur and Dylan Gabriel, not knowing who they're going to start. They got 4 quarterbacks on the roster to start the season. I mean, it's chaos. So here's the thing about Stefanski. He's a hell of an offensive mind. He gets the job done. He piecemeals things together. If you get him in a situation where he's with an organization where he can run this thing from top to bottom and he can make things, he's going to be fine. He's going to land somewhere. I say, I get it. It sucked. It's painful, and you never want to see anybody lose their job. But let's take a deep breath. Kevin Stefanski is a good football coach. He's going to land somewhere, and he's going to get an opportunity to show what he can do. Cleveland, I mean, good for him taking a risk there, but, I mean, Cleveland's it's a bigger problem. It's a disaster, Kyle, and so I'm happy for Kyle. I'm happy he gets to get out, Stefanski, and he gets to do something different.
Let's go live to Kevin Stefanski for his reaction about being fired by the Browns.
Yeah, you're with me.
Oh, fine.
You're with me.
Listen, you don't want to be fired, but you cannot tell me that there is not some part of Kevin Stefanski that's like, okay, all right, fresh start. I would look at Kevin Stefanski and I'd be like, do you like Jackson Dart? What do you think about him? Coach, do you like Cam Ward? How do you feel about Michael Penix? You know what? What are your thoughts on Fernando Mendoza? Like, Kevin, you took the Browns to the playoffs twice. You won a playoff game of tackle football with the Cleveland Browns. That's like 3 Super Bowls. You beat the Steelers in the playoffs. Like, he did really, really special things. Before he showed up to Cleveland, they hadn't even been to the playoffs in 18 years. This is a very, very, very good coach who is respected and who's been handed an absurd, farcical horn of plenty of quarterbacks. Absurd. And he stands up, and they ended the season winning and on and on. Like, I think that not only are there teams who have a coaching vacancy who would be interested in Kevin Stefanski, I think there are teams who don't have a coaching vacancy who might be interested in having a coaching vacancy because of Kevin Stefanski. I think there's people who are like, whoa, wait, Stefanski's available? Get our guy in here. I think he is. I believe in him that much. And I know that it's gone bad to the Browns in the last couple seasons. Fine. Ridiculous quarterback situation, I think, drawn nearly entirely or entirely from the front office and the ownership. What he has been handed, stupid situation. And Deshaun Watson is a big part of it, but not all of it. Kevin Stefanski, I'm sitting down with my family, I'm saying, where do you want to move? Here's the 4 cities we can move to. I feel like he's not going to be chosen. He's going to choose.
Yes.
And I love Stefanski. Anybody who hires him is like, get ready. I think he is great. And this is a great day for him. And I'm happy for him, actually. I'm sitting here. It's fired. It says fired by the Browns. And I'm happy for Kevin Stefanski.
Anyone who is thinking that man might go and be a team's offensive coordinator, most likely wrong. He will be a head coach. It is beneath him. He will go and be a head coach somewhere else. And the amazing thing about this decision by the Browns is that in this current NFL season, you had an active NFL head coach complimenting sarcastically the Browns' current GM and Andrew Berry, saying, I guess he's smarter than me, but he did trade Flacco within the division. The AFC North is wild right now. And Kyle, it was no more than an exclamation point put than on that game that we watched last night. And that coach that I mentioned was Mike Tomlin, because it was blasphemous, the fact that Flacco went in the division.